Hello everyone to DrupalCon Europe 2020. I will be talking about autosave and concurrent editing or conflict resolutions in Drupal 8 and 9. My name is Hristo Chonov. I am originally from Bulgaria. I've studied computer science at TU Darmstadt in Germany, and since then I'm living in Frankfurt am Main. Senior software engineer at 1x Internet, co-maintainer for Drupal 8.9 core entity API, and also most importantly for the current session, I'm the main author and maintainer of Autosave Form and the second branch of the conflict module. 1x Internet is a full-service digital agency and a leader in the development of web solutions based on Drupal. We have multiple competencies. We are an international team of 45 people from almost all continents of the world, and we speak over 18 different languages. So let's start with the content. Autosave Form first. Autosave Form is what the name suggests. It offers continuous autosaving of the form, which is basically the user input and the current state of the form. It provides different configuration options, very few actually. First is the autosave interval, how often autosave should be triggered. And also it's possible with an experimental feature to make it like this, that autosave submissions will be triggered only if there was a real change compared to the previous autosave request. It can be enabled only on specific entity types and bundles, but by default, it supports all of them out of the box. Talking about the content entity forms, actually. We don't yet have support for config entity forms, but we are considering to add it on a request. A little bit of the internals. It basically decorates the core it basically decorates the core form builder for autosave submissions in order to speed up the submissions and to prevent form and entity validation. Also to prevent hook invocations, altering the user input and the form state, and also all kinds of different things that might happen on submitting requests, AJAX requests in Drupal. The autosave states are per user, they're individual. They represent a draft for a single user. They are not shared between different users, although that could be made with some efforts, but currently it's not like this. New state is saved only if the form has changed. So even if there were multiple autosave requests, but the form didn't change in the meanwhile, then we are not going to create different autosave state. On entity save, it works differently depending on whether we have the conflict module enabled or not. If we don't have it, then we need to delete all states because we are not going to have the ability to save anyway later. And as we are triggering autosave requests, we thought that it's useful to notify the user of that, and the user will get a pop-up which will notify about disabling autosave and that the form has been saved meanwhile elsewhere. If the conflict module is enabled, then we don't need to delete. We need to delete only the states of the current form, not all of them, because then we are going to be able to use conflict resolution. There are some plans to use the browser local storage for autosave states if the user doesn't have internet connection, and there are some considerations to save as forward revisions, but that has a lot of technical limitations, such as not null constraints, new inline entities such paragraphs, and non-revisionable entity types. And it's considered for inclusion in core. Not talking exactly about the current implementation, but there are some thoughts to have autosave in core. So let's go with conflict. What we all know is that when two users try to save an entity form in Drupal, Usually that doesn't work when they try to save the form at the same time. Even if they don't have changes, they will be prevented from saving. And even if they also have changes, but on different fields, they will also be prevented from saving. That's what conflict solves with the concurrent editing feature, which works out of the box for all kinds of content entity types, revisionable and non-revisionable as well. It basically adds an entity handler for all content entity types and solves and detects conflicts and resolves them through a three-way comparison for each field based on the initially used entity to generate the form, the current entity, and the entity from the storage as well. It also has default auto merging and an event system for extended conflict discovery and resolution. Fields that are getting auto-merged are fields that are either not enabled in the current entity form display, so one user doesn't see these fields and they get auto-merged because the user is not able to change them anyway. That applies the same to fields that the user doesn't have access to, translatable fields from other translations, and entity metadata, such as the changed timestamps and the revision metadata. Also fields that changed only in the current form or in the newest version of that entity. They also get auto-merged because that doesn't represent a conflict. The conflict discovery and resolution event dispatching sends first one event for discovery and then another event for conflict resolution. If there wasn't if some of the conflicts couldn't be resolved automatically or through dedicated event subscribers, in that case, the user will be offered, in the most of the cases, a UI to resolve the conflicts manually. We support different UIs, inline-based and dialogue-based, while inline-based is the most stable right now. So, in the near future, we want to support more and more paragraphs. We already have an experimental module in the dev version, conflict paragraphs, which tries to enable support for paragraphs. And at some point, we want to use better merging of text fields, like this library that's referenced here. So I wanted to show some demo quickly. I'm going to enable quickly the modules. I hope that the time reaches. So if I have here one user and here a different user walked in, and then I can go to some content and I can see that autosave gets triggered. I can write something here and then that after 60 seconds that will create an autosave state. Unfortunately, the time will not reach for further demo. I'm sorry about that. You can watch my session from the previous DrupalCon about the demo. And now I can take a look at some questions. But first, I want to ask you to join us for contribution opportunities and also see some of our other sessions. And also we are hiring. So come to our booth, we are a sponsor, and I will be happy to talk to you there and to show you the demo there. I'm sorry again for not having the time for that. So let me check. There are some questions that I will be glad to answer afterwards because we don't really have the time for that. About the focusing of the fields, I see a question that the focus is lost, but that has been resolved, I guess. Please try that again. Autosave keeps as many form states as you have. Paragraphs, like mentioned, are already having experimental support with submodule. It doesn't save as revisions, like already mentioned. So I think that answers all of the questions. And join me in the booth, and I will be happy to show you a more extended demo and all the functionality that we have for paragraphs and for autosave as well, and how they integrate together well. Thank you.